a man found himself transported into a post-apocalyptic world overrun by a virus. But he had no time to lament the cruelty of fate. The first step was simply to survive. Raindrops pattered against the tin roof. The air was thick with the heavy smell of mold and an indescribable stench of decay. He picked up a cold wrench from the floor, the only halfway decent weapon he could find in this abandoned gas station. He had gone from being an ordinary office worker to a survivor in this apocalyptic world. No special talents, no system, only the festering wound on his left arm serving as a reminder that this was no game. If he died, it was really over. A gnawing hunger made him dizzy. He had to find something to eat. Carefully, he pried open the door to the gas station's storage room. Dust drifted down. In the corner sat a few crushed cardboard boxes. Inside, he found 2 cans of expired beans. In a world stripped of resources, this felt like a feast. He pried open the lids with effort. The moldy beans gave off a sour smell, but he forced himself to swallow them anyway. At least he would not pass out from hunger out in the wild today. After eating, he leaned against the wall to catch his breath, and his eyes landed on a piece of paper on the floor. It was a crumpled hand-drawn map. After studying it for a moment, his heart sank. It was the map from a survival game he used to play all the time. An absurd yet unmistakable thought struck him. So this was not just any apocalypse. He had been transported into the world of that game. As dusk fell, the rain outside finally stopped. Still reeling from the shock, he quickly realized the problem. If he really was inside the game world, then according to the game's logic, nighttime was when the infected were most active. Out in the wild alone, his chances of survival were practically zero. He had to act immediately. He skillfully marked a location on the map, the Trade Alliance outpost. He remembered it as the most powerful faction in the game. He might as well go there and throw in his lot with them. At least he would not starve. Map in hand, he headed north. After walking less than 2 kilometers, a shuffling sound made him freeze. 3 infected. They were wandering on the road, their skin rotting, their joints twisted at unnatural angles. In the game, these were barely a threat. But now, every rasping breath they took made his legs feel weak. He held his breath, using a truck as cover to try to slip past them. Just as he moved, he accidentally stepped on a dry branch. The snap was deafening in the silence. 3 heads turned toward him in unison, cloudy eyes locked onto him. The next second, they charged, shrieking. Their limbs were deformed, but they moved with terrifying speed. He spun around and dashed into the woods by the road. His lungs burned. One infected lunged from the side, its rotting hand nearly brushing his arm. On instinct, he swung the wrench. The dull thud of metal hitting flesh sent a shock through his arm. It stumbled, then came back even more ferocious. He remembered the game's logic. If a lone survivor got surrounded, it was over. He had to run. A second infected lunged out from behind a tree. He ducked, rolling down a slope. Rocks and branches dug into his wound. He gritted his teeth to stop himself from screaming. At the bottom of the slope was a dry creek bed. Using the riverbed for cover, he ran with everything he had, putting distance between himself and the infected. Finally, he spotted the outline of a barbed wire fence and a watchtower emerging through the twilight. He had made it to Camp 101. It looked almost exactly like it did in the game, and yet completely different. The smell of smoke and faint sounds of human voices drifted through the air. It was so real it made him want to cry. At the gate, a guard raised his weapon at him, only lowering the barrel slightly after confirming the man was human. The tightly shut gate swung open. He staggered inside, collapsing onto the ground the moment he crossed the threshold. Only then did he feel the wound on his arm tear open again, blood seeping through the makeshift bandage. A grizzled man in an old military uniform walked over. His name was Alexei. By the campfire, Alexei handed him half a loaf of black bread and a bowl of hot soup. He told him the rules here were simple. No infighting, no waste, no abandoning your comrades. There was no such thing as a free meal. Starting tomorrow, he had to work, chopping wood, mining stone, standing guard, or heading out to scavenge for supplies. Work earned points, and points could be traded for food and medicine.